An optimized LinkedIn profile works like a magnet, attracting recruiters, hiring managers, and high-quality job offers straight to your DMs. If you're done scouring job boards and getting no response, or if you're just feeling stuck in your professional life, then tune in. In this episode, I'm breaking down the most critical areas of your LinkedIn profile that need to be optimized to attract the right opportunities so that you can spend less time hunting and more time landing your next big role. And stick around because I've got a brand new LinkedIn checklist that will guide you step by step to create a profile that stands out, gets noticed, and sets you miles ahead of your competition. Hey, if you're new here, I'm Heather Austin, a university professor turned entrepreneur, and I love turning complex job search tasks into simple, actionable strategies that you can use right away. So if you're ready to dive in, make sure you tap that like button and subscribe to this channel if you're tuning in on YouTube. And for our podcast listeners, a quick rating and review on your favorite podcast platform would mean the world to us. So I'm going to break this down into 7 sections of LinkedIn. I don't want you to think about anything else, any other sections except for what I share with you today. Now, if you have lots of extra time on your hands and you're like, oh, I want to go add all these other sections and yada, 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 great. That's totally fine. But I'm approaching this as if you don't have a lot of time, you're confused by the platform, and you're really not sure what to even add to your profile. That's how I'm approaching this. So I want you just to focus on these 7 key things right now and nothing else. First one, we all know a professional profile photo is a must. Now I'm going to share some guidelines with you, but I want to show you really quickly where your profile photo shows up on LinkedIn. Of course, it shows up on your LinkedIn page. It shows up if you're in the news feed, it will show up on the left side of your profile. So you'll see it there. Or if you're about to start a post or you make a post, it shows up there. And then of course it shows up in messages and some other places on LinkedIn. This is the very first interaction someone has with you is your profile photo. So we do know that studies have revealed to us that if you have a professional photo or even just a photo, let's just say a photo, okay, you actually are 14 times more likely to get profile views and 9 times more likely to receive connection requests. If I go to LinkedIn and I don't see your profile photo, I'm most likely not going to even bother to go look at your profile. And I'm most definitely probably not going to send you a connection request. Okay. So the profile photo is a must. Let me share some guidelines with you. So some essential guidelines to keep in mind when it comes to your profile. You need it to be clear, you need it to be recent, and you want it to be a high quality photo. So when I say recent, we don't want a photo from like 5, 6, 7 years ago. Keep it, if you can, within the last couple of years. My profile photo is probably 2 or 3 years old. I could use a new one, but it's not, my appearance hasn't changed too much. So I would say, just keep it recent. Also, make sure that it's high quality. Now, LinkedIn, the size of the photo that they want to see uploaded is at least a 400 by 400 pixel. Okay. So again, make sure you're avoid using old photos. And I also don't want to see you use heavy filters or a lot of editing. Okay. Don't use a lot of editing or heavy filters on your photo. Now, the next guideline that I want you to keep in mind is it needs to be professional or business casual attire. Okay. So you want to make sure you're dressing professionally or in some sort of attire that matches your industry or your profession. Okay. You want to avoid anything that's like overly casual or doesn't look like you're going networking, right? Okay. That you're going to be meeting some business contacts. That's how I want you to look at what type of photo to upload. Make sure you have a friendly, approachable facial expression. I know there's a lot of photos out there and I have the hardest time doing this, especially when I go and I take a new set of photos for my business, is like the not smiling photo, where someone's crossing their arms and they're like a little bit more serious. I'm not opposed to those photos, but I have a harder time doing that. I love to see smiles. I think a smile paints many, many pictures for people. So I want to see that approachable facial expression in the form of a smile. Okay. The other thing to keep in mind is a plain or neutral background is probably the best. I do see a lot of photos where someone is in a restaurant or there's a setting behind them. It does get a little bit distracting. Now, you don't necessarily want to have to go take a photo on like a plain background or a plain wall, but keep it subtle, okay? And also the lighting is probably going to be the biggest factor with your profile photo. You want to make sure you're in front of a window. This is what I do before I'm going to take a picture or before I'm going to do a video. I'll put my camera on and then I'll turn the camera to me and then I look at what it looks like in front of a window and then I'll turn the camera and I'll see what it looks like not in front of a window, and it's a total difference. So lighting makes such a big deal. So make sure you get your lighting squared away. You also want to crop the photo appropriately. So I was always a big advocate of anything from the elbow up, but it seems now we're almost like even closer than just the elbow up. It's almost like the chest up, okay, a lot of times. In fact, a good rule of thumb is 60% of the frame. Your face should take up 60% of the frame, okay? And then of course, avoid selfies or group shots. Next thing that you need to work on. So again, we are still on the 7 essential elements that need to be optimized is your catchy headline. Your headline appears everywhere that your photo does, okay? So this is going to be the second most important thing that you need to optimize when it comes to your LinkedIn profile. It's going to show up at the top. It's going to show up if you post something. It's going to show up in your messages. It shows up everywhere. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys some guidelines to follow. And then I want to share with you some methods and examples. I have 3 methods to help you write your headline. So when it comes to your headline, here's a couple essential guidelines. Okay. And then I'll share with you guys how to actually do this and then some examples. So we want it to be concise, compelling, and accurate, okay? When I say concise and compelling, that means I don't want something super long, okay? You'll see these long headlines. I want something that's going to compel me to want to look at your profile, okay? And then I'm also going to want something that's accurate, okay? Something that reflects like who you are. Now, the next thing I want you to consider is including relevant keywords and phrases. So when we think of keywords, in fact, I want you to jot down right now some keywords that you have in your industry, keywords that are relevant to your industry, keywords or phrases. Okay. So let me just give you an example of mine. So career coach, career strategy expert, interview strategies, LinkedIn profile skills, resume writing, like those are the keywords that I can think of when it comes to my industry. The next thing we want to focus on is we want it to be tailored to your unique skills. I'm going to show you guys an example of this, but I also want you to think about what are your unique skills? Like what makes you unique over anyone else that might be applying for the same job or trying to get the same customer or client as you. The other thing I want you to really consider is your value proposition or achievement. So when we talk about a value proposition, all this is what value are you providing someone? Okay, so for example, for me, the value I'm providing is I'm helping you build confidence so that you can land a life-changing job offer. That's my value prop, okay? An achievement would be what's something that you've accomplished over the years that you've been in the industry that is noteworthy. We're going to either use a value proposition or an achievement, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this in just a second, okay? We never want to use the default headline that LinkedIn gives us because that's boring and outdated, okay? And you'll see a lot of people do that, but we don't want to do that. And then you never want to use terms like actively seeking. Remember that you do have 220 characters when it comes to the LinkedIn headline. I don't recommend using all 220. Okay. I recommend using what you need to without like overwhelming your reader. Okay. I'm going to share with you guys the 3 methods when it comes to creating your LinkedIn headline. Here's the easiest one. The easiest one is you add your desired position title and then you add some industry specific hard skills. So your desired position title with some industry specific hard skills. Now, let me show you what this looks like. And I have 2 different job titles I'm going to be sharing with you as examples. So the first one is a senior graphic designer. And then I'm going to say specializing in, and I'm going to give some of those hard skills: logo design, web design, brand strategy, and visual communications. Or let's say I'm a director of public relations and marketing. I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to say campaign management, email marketing, SEO, and CRO. This is the easiest way to write your profile headline. You're going to give us the title, and then you're going to give us key skills. Okay, so again, method number 1, write this down: desired position title with industry specific hard skills. And I mean, you could add some soft skills in there, but the reason why I'm adding hard skills is because that's mostly what hiring managers and recruiters search for. Okay, so that's method number 1. Method number 2 is probably the most popular right now. This is where you're going to add your desired position title. Then you're going to give us your industry specific hard skills, but then you're going to add a value proposition. Remember the value proposition again, you guys, this is like a LinkedIn 404 class. This is not like your 101 beginning class, okay? I'm a professor and I teach, so I love to share this information with you guys, but tune in. Hopefully this is making sense to you. You're going to have a desired position title, your industry specific hard skills, and then a value proposition. Again, your value proposition is the unique value or benefit that you bring to the table, okay? Let me show you some examples. Okay, we're back to our senior graphic designer example again. So here we have senior graphic designer. Notice I'm changing the skills just a little bit because I'm now adding a value prop. So I'm adding the value prop, which means I need to take out some of those hard skills. I can't list everything and include the value prop. So now what I'm doing is I'm just listing the title, and then I'm listing a couple of those hard skills, web design and brand strategy, the ones I think are the most important. And then I'm listing my value prop, which is creating visual stories that captivate and inspire. Let's take our director of public relations and marketing position. Again, we're just going to take a couple of the skills, the hard skills, and then we're adding the value prop. The value prop is streamlining operations for efficient project delivery. The reason why we're spending so much time on the headline is because the headline is one of the most important pieces of your profile. Now, I want to share with you guys the third method here. The third method is very similar to method 2. Instead of us adding the value prop, we're now going to do a results-driven achievement statement. This was hot for a minute. In fact, there are still people doing this, and I still like this method. It's not bad. It's good. It's actually really good. But the method we're seeing most right now is people adding their value proposition in there, which is method number 2. But let me show you what method number 3 looks like. So as career coaches, recruiters, hiring managers, interviewers, CEOs, all that stuff, we're always looking for like a result that you've had. That's what gets us excited, what gets us wanting to hire you, because we feel like you're going to have the same result for our company, right? This is where this method comes into place, okay? So we're going to now take our same example. So I'm going to say senior graphic designer, and I'm going to say web design and brand strategy. So again, I'm adding a couple of those key skills in there, those keywords. And then I'm going to, instead of adding my value proposition, I'm going to add an achievement. Now, this works awesome if you have a freaking amazing achievement to add. So in this case, achievement is catalyst for 20% boost in client transactions with 200 plus successful projects. So now we're telling them, hey, we had a boost. We boosted our client transactions by 20%. Employers love to see anytime you had a result. So instead of that value prop, we now put a result in. Now, if we look at the director of public relations and marketing position, we're looking at campaign management and email marketing, same keywords here. And then we're saying developed comprehensive PR strategy resulting in a 30% increase in media coverage. Number 3, which is your attention grabbing about section, okay? Or your summary. Now, this is probably one of the most overlooked sections on LinkedIn. In fact, my heart is pained when I go to a LinkedIn profile and someone doesn't have their about section even written, okay? So I'm going to give you guys some tips to follow, and then I'm sharing with you guys a template that you can use. Okay, so we want this to be basically an easy to read snapshot with plenty of keywords. We want you to keep your about section short. We want to keep your about section to the point. We want you to include some keywords and keyword phrases, okay? And I'll show you in just a second an example. I like to have 2 to 3 paragraphs in there. I like to follow that with some sort of career highlight section, which would be bullet points of your greatest achievements or accomplishments. I also like to include an expertise section, okay? And I'll show you exactly what that looks like in a second. I like to have some sort of call to action so that an employer or someone could potentially get in touch with you really quickly without having to go through and find out the information, like they can see your information there. And then I also like to see headers and bullet points, which I'll show you what that looks like in just a second, because LinkedIn doesn't allow you to format, like to actually add headers or bullets, but I'm going to show you how to do that in a second here. And then we also want to have your character and your personality shine through, okay? Keep in mind the biggest difference with LinkedIn and a resume is that LinkedIn is a much more casual, like you can start, you talk in first person, you show who you really are, where your resume is really formal. It's a super formal document, okay? You're going to take what is in your resume and you're putting it onto LinkedIn, but you're adding personality and character to it. Let me share with you guys an about section template really quickly, okay? And then we'll keep moving on here. Here's a quick template I want you to look at. This is mine. I'm going to share with you guys paragraph by paragraph what you need to write. Take a screenshot of it, okay? It's super, super important that you guys do this. It's going to change everything. If you can update your profile today, I promise you will be getting callbacks by tomorrow. Okay, paragraph 1, I like to have the very first paragraph. I'm going to show you what to put in there in just a second. Then you're going to have paragraph 2, okay, just simple paragraph 2. Then I want to see a career highlight section where you have bullet points. And I have my business stuff like visit me on YouTube, free resources, yada, yada, yada. At the very end, I want you to have your expertise section. That's it. That's all you need to do right now for your about section is those 4 things. I'm telling you exactly what you need to put in paragraph 1. So you're going to start this paragraph by expressing your passion for your chosen career and what drives you in the industry. You're going to share your dedication and commitment to making a difference in your field. And then you're going to clearly state your area of expertise and how you add value to your target audience. Now, if you guys stick around until the end, I'm sharing with you guys how you can use AI to help you do this so that you're not spending 1,000 hours creating your about section, okay? You're going to use your second paragraph to showcase your expertise in the industry. You're going to mention the number of years you've been working in your specific role. If you have any concern about age discrimination, don't enter the number of years and just mention highly qualified, experienced in, yada, yada, yada. You're going to then highlight your commitment to addressing the industry's challenges and pain points. And then you're going to share any notable volunteer work or any awards you've received. If you don't have volunteer work and you haven't received awards, that's okay. Don't freak out. You're just not going to add that. And then you're going to add a touch of personality by mentioning a few of your interests or activities outside of work. And I always share this example. I like horseback riding or snow skiing, or I run marathons, or in fact, I had a client, and I don't know if he's here today, who he just installed an a pool, one of those swimmer pools in his backyard because he swims all day long. And I'm like, that's freaking awesome. So many cool things that you guys can add into this paragraph. Remember, I want you to be creative and I want you to use your personality here, okay? Your professional highlights section. So this is going to come after your first 2 paragraphs. So in this section, you're going to include 3 to 4 bullet points that highlight your significant career achievements. Here's the thing. If you follow the way that I teach resume writing, at the top of your resume, I have you put your career highlights. They can be the exact same career highlights from your resume. I want you to focus on accomplishments that directly relate to your industry and to the position that you're targeting. Again, these highlights should showcase your expertise, your impact, and your contributions. Let's move on to the expertise section, that's going to fall after your 2 paragraphs, your career highlights, and then you're going to have an expertise section. This is where you're going to utilize this section to showcase your key skills, your experience, and your knowledge relevant to your industry and desired position. Here's what I'm going to say with this. All you need to do is have an amazing list of key skills separated by a line. That's it. And it's just keywords and keyword phrases. That's all you're doing. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say that I'm an expert in resume writing or LinkedIn profiles, okay? I could say something like LinkedIn profile optimization, LinkedIn skills, LinkedIn expert, whatever, anything related to the industry, I'm going to get in that expertise section. So the 4th thing that you'll have to do is add some detail to your experience section. Let me give you guys some guidelines to follow. This is definitely more personable and relatable than your resume. You can use your experience section from your resume, but Remember, you can now start talking in first person, like me, my, I, like this is what I did. I was so super excited about this, yada, yada, yada. We're now making it more personable. The next thing is we want it just to have one brief paragraph of your overall responsibilities, and then some results-driven achievement statements. These are going to be different than what you list in your About section. The other thing that you need to do when it comes to your experience section is include metrics and data, okay? Because this is going to show that you had some sort of impact. So anytime you can add metrics and data, we want to get that in there, okay? The next thing we want to do is add any relevant keywords that highlight your skills and your expertise. So make sure you get that in there. These are, again, going to be like your industry-specific keywords. And then we want to show some sort of indication of career growth or progression. So that's really, really, really important that you show that in some way, like you've taken on more responsibilities, so on and so forth. Now, let me share with you guys a template that you can follow for this. In fact, I redid my experience section just for you guys so that I could show you an example of this. We're going to have our catchy job title. We're going to have paragraph 1, which again, I'm going to give you guys a template for in a second. And then we're going to have career highlights. Pretty easy, right? That's it. Your paragraph 1 and your career highlights. And then of course, add a catchy job title. You'll notice that in this job title for me, I've changed it to a value proposition, empowering professionals to land life-changing job offers. If you want to stick with your original title, that's okay. Just don't use that same title in the headline. In paragraph 1, we're going to explain your key responsibilities and achievements, and we're going to highlight your contributions and impact. So think of this as you could use the statement from your resume, but you're now just adding more personality and character to it. So you can say something like, this is what my achievement was. This is the impact I made. It's not going to be like a formal whatever from like it is on your resume, okay? We now want to see 3 to 4 bullet points in your experience section where you're going to highlight significant achievements. Again, these can come directly from your resume, but if you wanted to, add a little bit more character to them, okay? Like don't be afraid to now add a little bit of emotion to it. So that's going to be your work experience section. Next thing that we want to focus on is we want to look at, after that is going to be a noteworthy education section. I'm just going to share with you guys what it looks like. So you're going to add your degree. You're going to add the school you attended. It could be the type of degree. Give as much detail as possible. Don't just say, like, let's say you got a Bachelor of Science degree. Don't just say B.S. Like, spell it out, give us the letters with it, and then give us the degree type. Okay, pretty simple, right? Next thing is relevant and impactful skills. So this is a section that is really, really, really gaining ground on LinkedIn. If you don't have your skills section optimized, you need to start doing that right away. So when it comes to skills, and if you guys scroll down on your profile, LinkedIn will list the top 3 skills right away. Okay. You can go in and add up to 50 skills. I don't want you to add up to 50 skills. I want you to keep it super streamlined and add only the skills that you want to be known for. I have 30 skills listed on my profile. I could probably have 20. Like I probably don't need all 30 of those skills. But the idea here is that you list your most noteworthy skills and then you get others to endorse you for those skills. So let me show you an example. If I'm on my skills section, I can either edit them using the pencil icon, I can add more using that plus icon, or I can click on demonstrate skills. Let's look at if we're going to add a new skill. It gives you suggested skills based on your profile. So it's going to read already what your profile has in it, and then it's going to give you suggested skills. You don't need to add these suggested skills. You can go in and in that box right below, start typing the skill. Here's the thing I want you to keep in mind when you're adding a skill. It says leadership, or I type leadership, let's say. I don't want you to just use leadership. I want you to get much more specific. Notice it's giving me team leadership, cross-functional team leadership, leadership development, educational leadership. It's giving you a whole plethora of skills that you can add that are not general. So get very specific with that skill that you want to add, not a general skill. Okay, does that make sense? So quick question for you. What part of your LinkedIn profile are you most excited to optimize? Comment below this video or DM me on LinkedIn to let me know you made it this far in the episode. Also, I have a special link for you below this video or in the show notes of this episode so that you can grab your LinkedIn checklist. The checklist will guide you step by step in creating a standout profile that captures attention and sets you apart from your competition. Now, if you found this episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're on YouTube or to this podcast if you're a podcast listener, and take just a few seconds to rate and leave us a review. And I'll see you in the next episode.